Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to the Coast District of the BCA's 2024 Gotan-E service, celebrating the birth of Shinran Shonin and the service commemorating the 125th anniversary of the founding of the Buddhist Churches of America. My name is Michael Endo. I'm the executive assistant to the Bishop, Reverend Marvin Harada at BCA headquarters, and I'm honored to serve as your chairman this morning. Today's service will be conducted with the special Shuso Sango Saho Ongaku Hoyo, or special musical liturgical service ceremony in honor of Shinran Shonin. This special format was created for the 750th memorial for Shinran Shonin. Do you all have a copy of the program booklet, the special booklet, in addition to the large service program? Okay. If not, there's copies at the back of the hondo. Okay. The sutra chanting will be Shoshinge and will be chanted to the Junirai melody. Prior to and following the Shoshinge, we will be having the special chanting verses to music, including the Choraimon, the Wasan and Nembutsu, and finally Ondoksan. And so we hope you'll follow along and enjoy the service. Just to give you a brief outline of what will be occurring during this service, we'll begin the service with Kansho, the ringing of the temple bell, followed by the procession of the Chigo children and the ministers and ministers' assistants into the Hondo, accompanied by special music. Following that, we will have the Kento Kenka, offering of candlelight and flowers. And then, of course, as you can see in your program, the remainder of the program items. Okay. And so with that, we will now begin the service, the Shuso Sango Saho.
Today, the members of the Coast District of the Buddhist Churches of America gather to observe Gotane, the celebration of Shinran Shonin's birth, and the 125th anniversary of the Buddhist Churches of America. With deepest reverence, we express our gratitude to Shinran Shonin for propagating the teachings which enable Jodo Shinshu to be shared throughout the world. With a deep sense of indebtedness, we remember and honor our 125-year history of the Buddhist Churches of America. We can never forget the dedication and sacrifices of our pioneering ministers and members. May we find that the right time is now to direct our efforts of sharing the Dharma so that Shinran Shonin's deepest wish, that the Buddha Dharma spread and that the world be at peace, be fulfilled.
Good morning again. I hope you enjoyed that Shuso Sango Saho. Thank you very much for your participation in that portion of the service. Over 125 years ago, the small island of Japan was bursting forth from long years of self-imposed isolation. It would be at the early part of the 19th century that the Tokugawa regime began to realize that the technological advances of the West would make it not only difficult, but foolish for Japan to continue a policy of isolation. As history tells us, Japan did open up to the advancements of the West. Fast forward to 1897, it was in that year that a devout immigrant Buddhist by the name of Nisaburo Hirano, frustrated by the lack of Buddhist temples in California, where he and the others could receive spiritual guidance, made a trip to Japan to visit the Honganji in Kyoto. It would be during that visit that Mr. Hirano would make very special connections with influential ministers at the Honganji. His desire to request to see Jodo Shinshu Buddhism brought to the mainland US would not go unheard by officials at our mother temple, the Honganji. Then Gomonshu Myonyo Shonin would also hear this call, and in 1899, Reverends Shiue Sonoda and Reverend Kakuryo Nishijima would be dispatched to America and would arrive in San Francisco on September 1st, 1899. And thus was the start of the BCA, our organization. And today, you, the members of the BCA Coast District, gather to celebrate the BCA's 125th anniversary, together with the special Gotane observance celebrating Shinran Shonin's birthday. So I thank you for being with us today. We now like to proceed with the service with incense offering Daihyo Oshoko by the following representatives. Representing the Coast District Dharma School, Brent Izutsu. Representing the Coast District YBA, Christopher Hojo. Coast District Buddhist Women's Association, Janice Doi. The Coast District Adult Buddhist Association, Sus Ikeda. temples of the Coast District, Guadalupe Buddhist Church, Lee Humphrey. Monterey Peninsula Buddhist Temple, Linda Kadani. Mountain View Buddhist Temple, Jin Shimoguchi. Buddhist Temple of Salinas, Bani Yokota. San Jose Buddhist Church, Betsuin, Larry Honda. San Luis Obispo Buddhist Church, Gary Hongo. And the Watsonville Buddhist Temple, Kenny Kusumoto. For the Buddhist Churches of America, Mr. John Arima. The Coast District Council, Tom Yamashita. And the Coast District Ministers Association, Reverend Gerald Sakamoto. Thank you very much. We'll now have two selections by the San Jose Buddhist Church Betsuin Choir. That was beautiful. Thank you very much. Next, I'd like to welcome our Bishop of the BCA, Reverend Marvin Harada, for his welcome message.
May I extend a warm greetings to all of you as you have gathered for this special district-wide Gotane service and BCA 125th anniversary. I would like to extend my appreciation to the Coast District ministers and leaders for thinking of having this special commemorative service here at the San Jose Betsuin. Happy birthday, Shinran Shonin. It is amazing to think that someone who lived 850 years ago can have such a spiritual influence for Shin Buddhist followers throughout the world today. Shinran Shonin's teachings have tremendous value and meaning for us 850 years after his birth. Through Shinran Shonin, we learn a life of deep self-introspection, a life of gratitude, and a life of humility. It is also amazing that this year we celebrate the 125th year of our Buddhist Churches of America. We stand on the shoulders of so many dedicated ministers, leaders, and members who have enabled us to reach this milestone in our history. Our BCA theme for this year is "The right time is now." I cannot help but feel that Shinran Shonin and all of our predecessors in our BCA history are encouraging, urging us to continue our efforts to share the Dharma with others. We have much to share, and the world is very much in need of the teachings. May our gathering today inspire us to continue our efforts to do our part to sustain our local churches and temples and our national organization, the Buddhist Churches of America, so that we continue to transmit the Dharma for another 125 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bishop Harada. Next, we'll have the reading of the Three Treasures and Kie Mon. First, the Three Treasures in English by Reverend Naomi Nakano, followed by Kie Mon by Reverend Yushi Mukojima.
The Three Treasures. Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear it. If we do not deliver ourselves in the present life, no hope is there that we shall be freed from suffering and sorrows in the ocean of birth and death. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of your way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves our supreme will. I will take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become units in true accord in your life of harmony, in a spirit of universal oneness, free from the bondage of selfishness. Even through ages and myriads of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teaching. Please join me in Kansho. Namo Amida. Namo Amida. Namo Namo Amida. Namanda.
三啓門、人参受けがたし今すでに浮く、仏法聞きがたし今すでに聞く。好み根性に向かってとせずんば、さらにいずれの章に向かってが好みをどせん。大衆もろともに指針に参謀に消えし立て祭るべし。自ら仏に消えし立て祭る。まさに願わくば主情とともに大道を体現して無常意を起こさん。自ら法に消えし立て祭る。まさに願わくば主情とともに深く教蔵に入りて知恵海のごとくならん。自ら僧に消えし立て祭る。まさに願わくば主情とともに大衆を通りして一切無下ならん。無常人人未明の法は百千万号にも愛おうことがだし、我今検問し授事することを得たり、願わくは如来の真実義を下し立て祭らん。アマンダブツナマンダブツナマンダブツナマンダブツナマンダブツナマンダブツ。
At this time, I have the extreme honor of introducing our special guest speaker for today's service, Reverend Dennis J. Hosei Shinseki. Reverend Shinseki was born in and he was raised in Mountain View, California. He attended the Mountain View Buddhist Temple. He attended the Cal State University, also the Institute of Buddhist Studies, and the Chuo-Bukkyo Gakuin in Kyoto, Japan. Reverend Shinseki also took part in the Honganji Gonshiki Rituals and Ceremonies Department. Throughout Sensei's ministerial career with the BCA, Reverend Shinseki has served the Seattle Buddhist Church, Betsuin, White River Buddhist Temple, Buddhist Temple of Salinas, the Mountain View Buddhist Temple, and currently, he is a very busy man serving the Monterey Peninsula Buddhist Temple, Buddhist Temple of Salinas, and the Watsonville Buddhist Temple at the same time. Also, Sensei currently serves on the Institute of Buddhist Studies Board of Trustees, and to me, it's amazing you've had time to golf, let alone be our guest speaker this morning for the service. So at this time, I'd like to introduce to you Reverend Dennis Hosei Shinseki. Onegai itashimasu.
Thank you, Michael. Let's see, I need to get a thing going here. Let's see. Bear with me 1 second. Nothing's happening. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. All righty. Hello, everyone. It's great to see all of you here this morning for our 125th anniversary of BCA and the celebration of the birthday of Shinran Shonin. I don't know how it was that I was asked to speak this morning because Reverend Sakamoto is much older than I am. And he should be the one speaking, but I think as I look back, we had a Coast District Ministers meeting. He was off doing something, so it ended up that I was the oldest one there. So here I am. First of all, I'd like to ask you to please join me in Gassho. My eyes being hindered by blind passions, I cannot perceive the light that grasps me, yet the great compassion, without tiring, illuminates me always. Namo Amida Butsu, 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 Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you. So as many of you know, or if you don't know, I'm going to retire at the end of July. And word spreads very quickly. So everywhere I go, people are asking me, what are you going to do after you retire? And I have different answers for different people. And some people will tell me what I need to do when I retire, like my wife. So I was just telling someone this morning, well, I think what I'll do is get up early, go to golf, come home, drink a beer, take a nap, and then do the same thing the next day. That's going to be my retirement. So I feel really honored that I'm able to speak to you this morning because it is such a special occasion. And I'm truly honored and humbled that I'm able to speak with you this morning. Again, over the past few months, I've been thinking about retirement. And as a result of that, I've been reflecting back on my life and what I've done over the last so many years. Michael didn't know what year I was born, well before Michael. But I'm amazed that I've been able to survive for 72 years. It truly is amazing, and I think some of my friends who I know from years back would say, you're still alive. It's amazing for the things that you did. But I've survived because of my family. I've survived because of the support I have from my family, especially, I have to say, my wife Jane, who supports me. She encourages me. She is my greatest critic, but my number one supporter, So as I was preparing for today's talk, what did she say to me? You better be fabulous. So we'll see afterwards if I'm fabulous or not. But that sort of statement, it instills fear in me. I don't know if you remember the old Star Wars movie where the captain was talking to the admiral and says, fear will keep the others in line. Well, that sort of system works really well in our house. So it keeps me in line. But I have to thank my family. I have to thank my teachers. And I'll be talking about like Reverend Kusada, for example, back in the day in IBS, my great teacher. I have to thank all of my friends. I have to thank my sanghas that I've served in, but also those friends of mine who've been so kind and supportive and patient with me over the years. So my story is just one small part of the 125 years of the Buddhist Churches of America. And it began in 1951 in Mountain View, California. And my good friend Susan sitting back here, wave Susan. I call her my twin sister. She lived across the street from me. She was born on the same day, same hospital, same doctor, and thankfully they got the parents right and we ended up where we did. But Susan has been a dear friend for all of those 72 years. So it sounded like such a long time ago, huh? But here we are. So it's not changing. This is me, front row left. My good friend Jerry Murnaka is up near the center of that picture. Can you see me? Left with a dark sweater. Yeah, that's me. Wasn't I cute? Yeah, I was so innocent looking back then in school. But little did the world know that that little boy was about to unleash chaos on the world. So the next picture, this is again Jerry Murnaka in the center, my friend Gary Furuya next to me, and Mountain View people will know Ron Sukagawa, Rumbo, is down at the end of that picture. So I just got new glasses in this picture, and I wasn't seeing things clearly. So my mother bought me new glasses, which I promptly broke, and that's why there's tape in the center. Now, glasses really didn't help me, though. I still wasn't seeing things clearly. I wasn't seeing myself clearly. And this is not just in grade school, middle school, high school. I was really one of these guys who was really self-indulgent. You know, I didn't appreciate my parents. I didn't appreciate my friends or others and what they did for me. So somehow I stumbled my way through high school, but I continued to kind of wander around aimlessly, trying to figure out, what am I going to do with my life? Around that time, I had the good fortune to encounter some really remarkable people in my life, and many of them you know. There are so many others, but some of these here really encouraged me and helped me and assisted me, gave me direction in my life. So I'm really grateful to them and indebted to them for my life. So together with my very best friend, Reverend Russell Hamada, we encountered Reverend Haruyoshi Kusada, our teacher. For those who may not know Reverend Kusada, the Institute of Buddhist Studies today is a direct result of his work and his sacrifices in creating the IBS. Those ministers in the previous slide, many of them were students of Reverend Kusada. And if you ask them, why did you become minister? They will tell you because of him, Reverend Kusada. He showed us and taught us the simplistic beauty, the profound teachings of Namo Amida Butsu, the Nembutsu. There's a term in Buddhism called Ondo-byo, Ondo-gyo, fellow travelers on the road to enlightenment. And no one more was that to me than my good friend, Reverend Hamada, Reverend Russell Hamada. So together we were at IBS studying and trying to figure out what we were going to do. And somehow, amazingly, in 1978, I graduated from the Institute of Buddhist Studies, and I prepared to go to Japan. At that time in my life, I thought, I know Buddhism, I know Jodo Shinshu, so I'm ready to go to Japan. But my teacher, Reverend Kusada, he says, no, you need to study more. You know, when you go to Japan, study hard. You need to learn more. And so, Russell and I enrolled at the Chuo Bokyo Gakuin, the Central School of Buddhism. And we spent the next 2 years living together, studying together, exploring Kyoto together, sometimes late into the night, beyond our curfew. We lived in a dormitory that had a curfew that was like 10 o'clock p.m. curfew. And here we're in our mid to late 20s, living in Kyoto thinking, wow, there's a lot going on out there in the city. So luckily there was a bathroom window that you could sneak through and go downtown and come back. But we spent 3 years together in Kyoto studying. And then, that's me in the front row with Reverend Nakagaki and Reverend Hamada. Yeah, I had really big hair back then. I have no hair now, but I had big hair back then. Kind of matched my head, my big head. Okay, in October 1979, we had our first ordination. Let's see, this one. There we go. We had our first ordination. Devin and Michael will kind of bring back memories of their ordination. Our ordination was a foreign tokudo, so it was for foreign students at the Nishihonganji. In the center back, you see Reverend Adrian Pell of Europe, Reverend Hamada, Reverend Carol Himaka, and myself. And there's a funny thing about Japanese formal pictures. Nobody smiles. Everybody looks like, I don't know, very, except there's one fool on the left who's smiling. And that fool didn't know what he was doing, so we're taking the picture, so I'm smiling. Everybody else is straight-faced, right? Yeah. Bakatare. So we were living in a dormitory in Kyoto. And during that time, there was a very famous and popular band called Godaigo. Do you remember Godaigo? Mikami-sensei remembers Godaigo. Godaigo was the name of the band. They were so popular on TV and everything else. And they were like them and Pink Lady. Remember Pink Lady? They were the two big, yeah, Russell and I like Pink Lady. But Godaigo was very popular. Then in the height of their popularity, the lead singer leaves the band and he joins a monastery. Yeah. So I remember sitting in the room of our dorm with the TV on and hearing this news. And I looked over at Russell and I said, I always knew that guy was weird. And so what did Russell say? What do you think you're doing? Yeah. So that statement by Reverend Hamada has stuck with me for the last 40-some years. And it's not just a question of what are you doing. It's a question that's really about my life and what am I doing with my life. That moment in Japan, getting ordained, becoming a minister, I was still questioning myself. What are you doing with your life? So it wasn't just a response to my stupid question, but it was a real existential question for me. And as I said, this question still lingers with me. So what do we think we're doing? Are we think we're trying to be really good in our lives? Are we trying to be so good that maybe we'll win the lottery? Maybe we'll reach the Pure Land? Maybe people will like us? All of these things that we do, we have to ask ourselves. This is not just a question that is for me, it's for all of us. What do you think you are doing with your life? Others are watching you. What do you think you're doing? So I prepared to come back to the United States, and I started my career at the Seattle Buddhist Temple. Reverend Ochi and Reverend Fuji were there. And I really began to understand what it means to be a minister working in a temple. And there was a lot of mistakes I made. I put my foot in my mouth more than once. And I recall Dimban Ochi just rolling his eyes as I attempted to do things and attempted to do it in the right way. But I kept stumbling. So I want to share this quote with you. Although I have taken refuge in the true teaching, the mind of truth hardly exists in me. Moreover, I am so false-hearted and untrue that there cannot be a mind of purity. Each of us shows an outward appearance of being wise, good, and diligent, possessing so much greed, anger, and wrong views, we're filled with all types of deceit. So earlier I showed you a slide of some of my friends. Here again is a picture of many of my friends. And I'm so grateful to all of them. We have shared so much gains and losses over the years. We've had falling outs, we've had disagreements, arguments. Although all of us have careers and livelihoods of helping others resolve their losses, we ministers are also sometimes helpless and powerless. Between us, when we suffer loss, few words are exchanged. Few words need to be exchanged. When my father died, Reverend Hamada was there for me. When his father died, I was there for him. We hardly exchanged 3 words, but we were there for each other. And that was more important. We began to penetrate the pretense of a minister into being just a human being. And among this group, it's a relief at times not to have to wear the mask of a minister. Sometimes we ministers we're treated special in a way, especially when you're wearing robes. People spoil us. But among our minister friends, we're able to take off the masks. We're able to be our true and real selves and not worry about what do you think you're doing, but be accepted just as I am. So I should mention here that we're moving into a new era in the Buddhist Churches of America, and we should look forward, not backward. We have here both the past and the future right in front of me. So I asked Devin and Michael, what the HE double hockey sticks are you doing? I don't know if you asked yourself that when you went through Tokudo. Maybe you said, I'm going to go to Disneyland now. I don't know, but I hope you know what you're getting into. But seriously, I know that you will do well. And the future of the Buddhist Churches of America is secure when you have young people like Devin and somewhat young Michael Jones, right? Yeah. And then we have the past here. Michael Endo over here. I don't know if he's past. He's sort of semi-old. Yeah. But isn't he handsome? This guy's so handsome. He's like this. He dresses perfectly, right? His hair is always in place. He's a great singer. He's articulate. He's all the things I want to be. Yeah. And then we have Bishop Harada. Not so handsome. But the harshest word you'll ever hear coming out of Reverend Harada is, oh my gosh. So he hasn't changed from his days in Idaho. And I've known him since we were students at the Institute of Buddhist Studies, so we go back a long way. And Bishop Harada is going to outlive us all. He's going to live to be 105. He's got those good genes. Anyway, I think that this idea of what do you think you're doing is a good message for all of us today. So I can't put on a mask and try to fool you and be someone I'm not. I have to be myself. I have to be honest. And this is where I'm the most comfortable, to be honest. And where is it that we're most comfortable? Of course, it's at home, right? When you're home, you are the most comfortable. So at home, I can walk into the living room with my boxer shorts on, and Jane won't say a thing. Well, she might roll her eyes, and she might say, weren't you wearing those yesterday? But if I wore boxer shorts here, you'd think I'm crazy. You'd think I'm weird. Or you might say, wow, I didn't realize Reverend Shinseki had such nice legs. But I worry about things like that. I worry about what am I doing? How am I presenting myself? So it's funny, but I think all of us are like this, regardless of our age, regardless of whether we're small children or retired adults. We constantly are putting on masks. And funny part about it is that we are not aware of it. We're not aware of it. The quotation I read to you earlier is from Shinran Shonin. There he said very clearly that as human beings, we are constantly trying to put on masks by acting wise, acting good, and diligent, when in fact, we're harboring thoughts of greed, anger, and ignorance. So we have to all ask ourselves, what are we doing? Are we putting on airs? Shinran called those thoughts of greed, anger, and wrong views, blind passions. And because we have blind passions, then we are constantly putting on masks. So blind passion is that part of us that rejects natural laws. Blind passions ignores the Dharma, or things as they are. Blind passions is that part of us that keeps telling us that we should be something else. Okay? This is perhaps the core of my talk that you should remember. Not about my boxer shorts, but this. Blind passions is the part of us that rejects natural laws and the conditions of this universe. Blind passions ignores the Dharma, or things as they are. And blind passion is that part of us that keeps telling us that we should be something else. So for many of us, blind passions is that part of us that gives into peer pressure, whether we agree with it or not. I should comb my hair this way, wear this style, everyone else will like it. I should wear this kind of clothes, everyone else is wearing that kind of clothes. Even us ministers coming here, I was thinking, well, what color robe should I wear today? And I was told by someone that this color robe highlights the tone of my skin. So I decided to wear it today. But ministers do this too. What color should I wear? What should I be? You know, what do you think about the clothes that you chose today? So I want a new kind of car. I want everyone to think it's a good car because I have it. I want the newest kind of cell phone. Everyone else has one. We want to play the right sports because it is what everybody else is doing. So even to the words that we say and the way we act, we're thinking about what others think of us. Okay? So all of these things represent our blind passions, the masks that we wear. One thing that we shall never be able to escape from is blind passions. However, it's very, very important that we recognize and acknowledge our blind passions. This is the only way that we shall ever totally be at peace of mind with ourselves. So if we acknowledge the fact that we're constantly putting on masks, then we shall never lose touch with our true hearts and minds. If we are constantly putting on masks and not knowing why, then we have lost touch with our hearts and our minds. If we are constantly putting on masks, not knowing why, then we shall be uncomfortable because our existence shall be based upon that which is temporary and constantly changing. So we all need a solid foundation upon which we shall interpret our surroundings. And masks only disguise that foundation. And someday, something will happen in our lives that no mask can ever relieve. We lose a girlfriend, we lose a boyfriend, we lose a husband or a wife. Mother will die, father will die, brother, sister, best friend. Lose your job, fail in school, have an accident, an illness befalls you. The only comfort that we shall find is in our true hearts and minds, and those causes and conditions that allow us to be truly me, to be sincerely me. Therefore, although it's difficult to stop putting on masks, we should not value only the mask. When the fallacy of a mask no longer provides us the support and comfort, the only thing that shall remain true and real is the heart and mind that is truly me. And I want to share this poem with you. You are just right for yourself. Your face, your body, your name are all just right for you. Your social position, wealth, parents, children, daughter, daughter-in-law, and even grandchildren are all just right for you. Your happiness and unhappiness, joy and sorrow are just right for you. Your life that you have lived is neither good nor bad. It has been just right for you. No matter where you go after your death, that place is just right for you. There is no need to think highly of yourself, but don't belittle yourself either. There is neither above nor below. Even the time of your passing is just right for you. And how can it not be just right when your life is always embraced in Nembutsu? So this poem reminds us that we should take refuge in the true heart and mind that is truly me. As human beings, we shall always be putting on masks day to day, but we should not depend upon them for constant, everlasting meaning and value. If we depend upon our masks, then in the words of Shinran, we shall flounder endlessly in the vast sea of birth and death. Look at your mask through the eyes of true and real hearts and minds. If you can, then you shall find comfort in knowing that this life is just right for you. And you can answer the question, what do you think you are doing with I'm just being me, true and real. Thank you very much. Please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu, 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 Namo Amida Butsu.
Thank you, Reverend Jay. I've known Sensei a long time. I'm not quite as old as you, but I've known you a long time. In your compliments of me, you forgot to say I'm a better golfer than you, but I'm just kidding. And I don't know, you're waking up early, playing golf, come home, have a beer, and take a nap. Yeah, that'll last about 3 days, I think, according to Jane. But thank you, Sensei, for your wonderful words. It touched all of our hearts, I'm sure.
Guadalupe to the south and Mountain View to the north. It's some 350 miles, I think. Those that made the trip to a long distance to drive out to come here today, thank you very much for your effort. First of all, to thank the Bishop Harada for leading the ceremony, Reverend Michael Endo for his assistance to the bishop, and also to be the chairperson of this event. Isn't he very polished? He's the best. He's the best. And Reverend Shinseki for his wonderful Dharma talk. And all the coast district ministers for coming out today. And we also have many MAs from the district temples also. I should mention that we have several practice to make sure this ceremony goes off well. And everybody had to come out, long distance to come out for this practice. And special thanks to Reverend Mukojima and Reverend Mikame. They are truly expert on these matters of ceremony and protocol. They were telling the bishop what to do. So we should consider ourselves very, very fortunate to have these two reverends in our district. Big thank you to San Jose Betsuin and all the people in this temple for hosting this. And, there's a lot of work that goes into putting one of these together. And so big thank you to all of you. And so on behalf of the Coast District Temples, we thank you for hosting this event and job well done. Other thanks goes to the choral team, Elaine Jones, I guess, for the organist today. And all the people that helped to get the Ochigo event take place. They were so cute. We don't get to see that very often, so that was a real treat. And I know I don't have very much time. I probably should be mentioning a lot of other people, but so if I can't mention everybody, I apologize. And again, thank you very much to everyone that contributed to this event and participated.
Thank you, Tom. This brings us to the end of the service. One other announcement before I forget. Your service book, the small one, please put it into the pocket in front of you in your pews, and they'll be collected later by the members of the Betsuin. Okay. Were there any other announcements? I didn't have any more in my notes, but okay. Okay, thank you. Oh, there is one more. Sorry.
Well, my name is Mas Nishimura. I'm the VP of programs here at the Betsuin. We have two program events that are coming up. One is this coming Wednesday at 7 p.m. We have a hybrid, we call it's with Reverend Kenshi Akahoshi. It's called Buddhism Clearly and Simply. And it's a hybrid meeting. If you're interested in attending in person, it's available here at the boardroom. And then it's for the Zoom link, please contact the Betsuin office. We also have our Tuesday discussion series, which is a Zoom session. So even if you're online, you can actually access this. Again, contact the Betsuin. The email address is sjbc@sjbetsuin.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Mas. So in closing, I'd just like to mention that, since the founding of the BCA 125 years ago, nearly 400 ministers have served the BCA, ministering to thousands of members. Innumerable heartwarming and inspiring stories can be related and shared, as well as stories of tears and anguish, particularly during those early years of our organization's beginnings, when our ministers and their families and our members shared in so many hardships. Today, we are able to rejoice and live a life guided by Shinran Shonin's Onenbutsu teaching because of the efforts of our predecessors. We owe to the countless number of hardworking lay members, the ministers, elected national and district level leaders and temple officials, and of course, all of you, the members, a tremendous debt of gratitude for the wonderful legacy that they have left for us, a legacy not only to cherish, but to emulate. Through your participation in today's service and celebration, be it in person or those of you who are on YouTube, you too have become part of the legacy and history of our organization. And realizing, as Bishop mentioned, that the right time is now, may today's service serve as a reminder and a source of encouragement for all of us to continue to live a life guided by the Buddha Dharma and Shinran Shonin's Nembutsu teaching. And in the words of Shinran Shonin, may peace prevail throughout the world and may the Buddha Dharma spread. I wish to also thank the members of the Coast District Ministers Association and District Council and the various temple members for putting together today's very special observances. And thank you very much. And please be sure to, again, leave your service book in the pockets in front of you as you depart the Hondo. And please travel home safely. Thank you again for your participation in this morning's service. I'd like to close with Gassho. Namandabs, 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 namandabs. We'll now conclude with the recessional of the ministers and the ministers' assistants out of the Hondo. So if you could please remain seated. Thank you. Those of you who have not had a chance, you're welcome to come forward and offer incense Oshoko. Thank you.